see. There's this. One trick around. Not that I can see once I'm moving all of this around, but so this doesn't have glitching. Then the SRT is the problem. Don't choose SRT. Hmm. Let's fix the YouTube audio. Don't don't tell me that this is also fixing the YouTube video issue. Come on. Fuck you, yeah, with your recommendations. Oh, SRT is newer. SRT is fixing glitches. SRT is this. SRT is that. But apparently SRT just doesn't. Come on. Okay. SRT. Choose SRT. How is the node? Now it's just smaller node. I don't need to do anything. As long as the node doesn't. What? Why is my encoding down so much? Is it also the SLT? Yeah, droplet has been destroyed. It's not the same droplet. How is my encoding so low now? This doesn't make any sense. And then you're gonna tell me this consumes less memory later? Fuck SLT. Now I start to hear those audio issues. I deleted this and close the window. No. Okay, still go on YouTube without screen coding, I guess. Non-pasture here. Non-pasture here. ACC 128. This says that. Assuming this doesn't break. Go fix yourself now. There's a flag for YouTube. How much lag is it for? Let's see, how much lag do I actually get back and forth on Twitch? Need my own sound. But what, I'm watching my old stream? Come on. Should have some lag indications. Stop, do something. What are you even? Am I watching an old stream instead of my live stream? Yeah. Give me the live. Give me the audio for the live. I want to know how long does it take to travel from. No, this seems extra delayed. Unstable. Oh my god. So much delay. Mm. I am here, Stony. I'm not sure if I'm happy from the current situation or not. I think we take so long for the lag. No glitching. Yeah, I see the no glitching. So I can tell you the glitching is from using the SRT protocol instead of the normal RTPS or whatever the name is. SRT versus RTMP. So suppose what did you do? You were telling me. Yeah, so normally the streams are in this format, STMP, but I was streaming to my server using the SRT because you see the AI saying it is a superior format for higher quality live video, and it does auto fixing and it does all of that stuff. But it's wonderful, but it's not working. It's causing all of those glitches. It's probably on me, but that's the result. RTMP is the goat. Okay. Fuck. I thought I'm doing good by upgrading to a more modern version or something. Um, yeah, so it has nothing to do with directly with the encoding and the bandwidth and the keyframe or anything. It's just this difference. At least on my restreamer node. I streamed from my computer to the restreamer node in SRT. Maybe because it needed to re-encode. It doesn't. No, it's not re-encoding. I've actually looked at that. Oh well, we found the issue and solved it. Yeah, we found the issue. I don't know if I'm calling this solved. Like, I'm not sure if I've finished, but yeah. Now you can get people to actually count watch. Yeah, it's an improvement. And look what happened. My video encoding dropped in half, in more than half. We were at like what, 80%? And now we're in under 40. What happened? I thought the video encoding is video encoding, not when you're changing the stream format. Stream protocol changes the work of the encoder by twice. What? What happened? Why? And I have a feeling that the difference between protocols somehow affects here the encoding, and that doesn't show up in the preview inside the OBS window. But it's one of those like technical rabbit holes where it's like, what did I just witness? And there's probably so much details to it, and I'm not sure if I want to dig down. I just like, I'm bewildered. Using a big word for me. I'm like, what the fuck is the thing? What? How come? Look at this video encoding. This doesn't make any sense that this changed. Like, what the fuck? I've never, I don't know, that's one of like, what? I've You change one thing, it's like if you were to change a pixel here and the entire computer changes. Like you change one pixel and your entire computer suddenly is burning. Like what? What? It's just a protocol. It's not a video protocol. It's not the encoding. I don't get it. I don't get it. What? Uh, it's one of the things that like I feel AI failed me because it recommended something and that something is horrible apparently. But it's not just AI. Like they made this protocol to be better at stuff and newer. Like you don't make something newer which is worse. Maybe it's my fault for liking to upgrade stuff. It's like you see, oh, this new thing. Let's not try this new thing. It's not bleeding edge. It's like it's several years old or so. It's probably like a decade old already. I don't know. Yeah, we solved it. I'm just still upset. I'm sorry. Let's see if we can move on from this. Where was I? uh, so I gave Antigrav with BMAD lots of audio instructions. I have the tendency to use old school tech just because I know I can trust it. Yeah, I have a tendency to go the other way. I know something, it becomes boring. I need to try something new. I still use MySQL. MySQL is great. MySQL is awesome. I have no problem with MySQL. Only if you're talking about classic MySQL, which is probably a decade old. Usually you say MySQL, but you don't know under the hood you're using MariaDB, which is a binary one-to-one replacement, like Podman is to Docker. All the distros have replaced the original MySQL by Maria because basically Oracle bought it, and Oracle started making it bad. And the open source community continued MySQL on a new name, which is the MariaDB. Um, but MariaDB is awesome. The Oracle MySQL version is okay. They they forked. They went their own way. Um, I didn't follow it for the last few years, but the time that we had the split, we also had some other forks. We had like Drizzle, which tried to be like the cloud computing version of it, and just delete a ton of stuff from MySQL, like no more support for all the CPUs and stuff, which is fine. But they took the extreme to optimize for the multi-core architecture stuff. It was nice if they didn't break all the standards on the way. It's not compatible with MySQL. That's the problem. They changed all the data types. They removed the old data types. They created new data types. They went through creating a whole new database of the MySQL code when they forked it. There were a couple of others. There's the Percona, which has the Percona tools, which most of the features under Percona tools were rebuilt into MySQL, which is good. But for a long time, Percona was a consultant for MySQL bigger customers, so they did all the enterprise stuff on like live migrations and stuff. Yeah, I know a bunch of stuff about databases, or at least maybe historical at this point. Um, So I'm working with BMAD. I was working to enhance the last story. I need to finish my SAS conversion, which is create these. Oh shit! This should not be the story. Let's see what AI actually did after it analyzed. I've analyzed your request for in the project state. So the story is currently in review while story is ready for that. Your latest brainstorm installation from the other files, including several critical requirements, bridge, dynamic orchestration, starting droplets when you use a lot. Yeah, you need optimization, shared layers, for resource constraints. Yeah, yeah, sense. Yes, sorry. All of these notes were for story 1.11, the worker deployment and storage. Obviously, you can connect the dots and see all the context is related to the worker deployment. We want to develop that story. So this is the transcription inside. It's not even a transcription, but like the voice work inside Google Antigraph. Um, I don't know. It's okay. You're limited to 2 minutes, but you can make several audio files. I'm just like, I tested this before. I worked with it one day, and then I stopped working with it, and now I'm working with it again a bit. So I don't necessarily have a good or bad review on it yet. I've just seen so many people start talking to AI instead of typing to it, and I feel like I should adopt it. But honestly, I'm working more with the Gemini CLI than I am with Antigrav. So we'll see how this works out. And Gemini CLI doesn't have it. AI is hallucinating that I can say like start something, talk, whatever, that there's a command, but there isn't. And I didn't actually research how to use audio for like generic in the OS or in the CLI or the Gemini. I need to find something. But that's a future issue. Um, so this is the clips page. This is the last worker I needed to work. So it creates the clips. Come on. It's almost always when you want a demo. Did the server just crash or something? Yeah. 3D Face ID, Gamma Tray. Yeah. So basically we have the entire thing going from video to audio to transcript, and we have the pair word working. You can see transcripts here and cut if you want to create clip out of the text. The enrichment is working, the stories. This is the stories and segments. Each segment becomes a short, basically, at the moment. YouTube, how you would describe if this is as a VOD. If you put the entire VOD as a YouTube video, here's a title, description, and the description includes chapters, which render inside the YouTube video if you see. I have nothing against PHP, by the way. It's one of the languages I remember the best. I probably worked with it. I don't know. For my project, I did some WordPress extension stuff or kind of work around WordPress to create sites that I wanted. And yeah, the current project is in Python because Python and AI, I don't know. Suppose Light LLM in Python is great. And the others are just like lagging and stuff. I don't know. I think it's lies by AI that I bought into. So I work with Python on this project and Svelte on the front end, Supabase for the off-end database for SAS. There was SQLite for the local versions, which is not bad, but for the local versions. Completed the creation of stories, DigitalOcean, worker deployment and management, incorporating all the dynamic orchestration, research, translation, telemetry requirement from the brainstorm. Story highlights dynamic, lifestyle, just time startups, gen stuff, distracts, share base image, snapshot strategy, multi-region. We should have we do like yeah, it's true. We do both. Um, I can mix text and recordings as well. My point is I'm trying for the BMAD thing to work, which I feel is I don't know, maybe this is the normal visualization for Antigrav, I forget, because I worked for several days just mostly with Gemini CLI instead. So this is a bit weird to me because I don't see the file. Is this the actual file? What else do I need to? So there's a question of consideration. I'm not sure if we. So DigitalOcean also has an image repository. the free tier is limited to 512 megabytes. Otherwise, we need to move to a payment plan, which I hope to avoid. We can keep images in GitLab. I'm not sure if there's an advantage to start pushing the worker images to DigitalOcean as it's close by. I think it depends how we're gonna do the snapshots and startup of the droplets starting, because I just want to make sure we can get the droplets started pretty quickly. That's an important part for this story. Again, I don't think we gotten into the details on how we are gonna do snapshots and update them. Because I think we are gonna have multi-layers here. We're gonna have changes in code would need to trigger rebuilds of the images. Rebuild of the images, I think, needs to trigger rebuilds of the snapshot. Because I assume we would want snapshots with the container images baked in, unless the traffic is really quick to download those images. The thing is, I'm not sure what the size of the images, but I'm thinking a couple of hundred megs is substantial. I don't know. Sometimes with the cloud nodes we can get those in less than a second. So I'm not sure what we should plan for exactly. What's your advice? Just take. Now Stony has run away. He's probably gonna return once he hears his name, right? It's like the genie. I knew I'd say your name. I'd say your name and you show back. You show up again. I was like looking at viewers and you were not listed, and I'm like, I'd probably say his name and he'll show up again. Thanks for being around, Stony. Is the video and audio still good? Haven't left. Yeah, I think you probably just out of focus on the window or something, and apparently the browser's optimized for something. So someone supposedly tracked this and noticed that the raids, for example, are very low on the jump in to a new raid. And I think also viewer counts dropped substantially at some point. I stopped complaining, have I not? So someone noted that yeah, the raids have gone down and the views have gone down, and they looked at it and there was a big change in how browsers try to optimize connections and stuff. So somehow I guess they disable either JavaScript or network calls that are like heartbeats when the browser is not in focus or is not in the foreground. When the browser is not in the foreground, there's a bunch of stuff being disabled by the browser. So the Twitch viewer count doesn't ping, for example. But also, like, they would not run the script for the raids if it's not in the foreground. They would not do the redirect. Now that was an interesting tidbit, and I assume it belongs to a lot of stuff. Idle lurkers are not counted anymore. Yeah, that's exactly. So the thing, if you want them to count, you have to keep it in the foreground. That's what I understood. I'm not sure if this is a perfect. This information is accurate, but I've seen, for example, that my computer would go to sleep if I have a stream in the background, even though I'm getting the audio. But if it's on the foreground, the computer would stay awake. So I think they made a big difference if it's in the foreground or not. So if I have multiple screens, I can drag it to the side. As long as it's in the foreground, it doesn't have to be in focus. It's just in the foreground, so it runs everything. That's kind of that's what I understood. I didn't verify this too deeply. Okay, what did we get? I've completed the formal create story workflow. It looks like story now includes the advanced strategies from targets, the layer lift heavy, workflow versus startup speed. Under 100 strikes 20. I have some people working and I know they don't have me in the front. I think that there's a difference between how the chat works and how the view counts work. Sometimes I see more people on chat than there are viewers, or the viewer count is slow. Viewer count updates like every several minutes, noticed. Like you could have 6 people raid or 40 people raid, and the count still stays the same for at least several minutes, I think. It's probably there's a refresh rate at some point. And it's a refresh on the Twitch side. Like you can refresh the browser and it doesn't. Maybe it's a caching thing. Startup speed under 2 minutes. 2 minutes, long time. Baked snapshots, pre-configured innovation of droplets with Docker and common layers already pulled. Common layers already pulled. So we're not gonna pull all the layers, we're gonna pull common layers. That's interesting. Refresh policy. Snapshots only rebuild on system level dependency change, while code only updates on global. That's smart. If that's gonna fulfill the requirements, that's not. Cost control and self-destruction, orchestrator new orchestrator that monitors user presence versus test backload. Alright. Idle replay. Worker shutdown if no task and no user. Not kidding. Shit. Okay, so the orchestrator belongs to the instance level, not the actual workers. I wondered how we should implement that because there's 3 different workers for the instance. And I don't want some of them to die and some not to die. So we introduce a new worker type, which is just for cycling the worker out. Observability, style manager. Okay, just it is ready for dev. Should I start dev? Can I see the actual full file? Sprint status. This one. As a boss, I want to deploy the vault workers to dynamic DigitalOcean droplet with just-in-time lifecycle focused on style, speed, and shared resources so that I can minimize operational cost and high performance in the processing. Is available when users are active. Acceptance, given DigitalOcean account and API tokens. User presence is detected with dependent task but no active workers. The system triggers a cold start by creating droplet using a pre-configured snapshot ID. And the droplet is provisioned with the smallest G. So snapshot ID. So the story mentions a pre-configured snapshot ID, but this would need to somehow be dynamic because we're changing that snapshot ID on when we're building, we're potentially creating a snapshot, right? So we need to be able to update that snapshot ID. It cannot be something static like a GitLab config. We need, unless that can be updated dynamically, we need something We need somewhere to have that snapshot ID dynamic. We can use a system table in Supabase possibly as one option that I can think of. I don't know if you have a better idea. Snapshot ID and the droplet is provisioned with the smallest T, and the worker supports automatic self-destruction when idle, no tasking. Given the limit and its free container registry, when building images, multi-layer design is used. Base image contains static flag FM4 and Python stored in registry, baking snapshots. App image, lightweight container with only app core logic, strives to sound with cloud mix. And the snapshot refresh policy is defined. Rebuild DigitalOcean snapshots only when base system dependency change to minimize baked issue. And the worker utilizes local IO peering. What is that? To check for existing vote downloads. Oh, on the PA worker audio term directory for downloading. Correct. Performance and telemetry given the under 2 minutes post start. How much is reasonable? So you log in, need to print an image, needs to start processing. Worker start, it logs its startup latency milliseconds to the Supabase. Cheap. Yeah. So, did I wake you up? To the Supabase telemetry table and the system tracks image resource limits are enforced. So no, I do not want telemetry inside Supabase. We have PostHog for telemetry. I want you to use the telemetry folder, review it. We have IAC there to create dashboards. We have documentation files about what we produce as telemetry. So don't put it in Supabase, put it in PostHog, any telemetry, please. And create a dashboard for data you think is relevant to create a dashboard around create a dashboard around the instances starting and getting killed and runtime and so on. Start time, runtime, whatever you think is relevant. Access limit time for memory intensive task. Must use swap and limit concurrent and that. Mm. Memory intensive tasks. Is um is FFmpeg actually recutting videos from probably constant bitrate into creative? I'm not sure if we are re-encoding into a variable rate variable rate video. I think we're just cutting. So it's a fixed bit rate to fixed bit rate. Is it still memory intensive? If we're gonna have memory issues, we can reconsider instances. There are, instead of the $4 512 mega RAM instance, there's a $6 or $8 1 GB RAM. So we can play with the instances later if we see that it's actually used. We're just trying to start the most conservative with the least resources, and we're gonna scale as we see fit later. But I don't think we want to use swap or limit concurrency. I don't know. I want to test. I don't want to make a determination of not using resources. I want to try to use the least resources, see how that performs, and see how much more performance we get per dollar, and then decide if what we want to pay for and what not to pay for. Tasks, DigitalOcean image registry strategy. Configure GitLab to DigitalOcean registry to store Workflow and Workflow app, Workflow base and Workflow app. Implement Docker base app. So the two Docker images for DigitalOcean suppose. So the Docker file base and the Docker file dot app. I think we need better names. I rather have the worker name. So at least it's Dockerfile worker and maybe Dockerfile worker base or SAS worker base. I think maybe just worker base and worker as names that are logical for me to remember what this is. And they should be under the app/SAS directory. So we know the context which they exist in. Snapshot as code, create a snapshot generator, provision temp, droplet, pull images, shut down, create DIY. So for the snapshot generator, I'm not sure what our base image is, but I also want to make sure we run apt upgrades. So we always keep the latest versions for security of kernel and whatever things we're using. So we have the latest, at least security updates. We don't need all the other updates, but I want to have the latest security updates in our snapshots every time we refresh it. We don't need to refresh the snapshots specially for it, but if we're refreshing the snapshots anyway, I want us to make sure we have the latest security updates. Uh, snapshot ID, snapshot generator. Okay, store snapshot ID in. We talked about the snapshot ID. Orchestration layer, implement worker orchestration, monitor user heartbeat plus status. Okay. Interface with DigitalOcean API. Implementation of scale up and ensure minimum nodes. Let's not work on scale up and ensure minimum nodes. But I do want to make sure we actually work on the front end to create a user heartbeat. I don't think we have it today. You need to create a heartbeat to be able to query it. You tend to forget there are two sides to such actions and only do the back end and forget about the front end. Want that to be explicitly written as maybe a heartbeat task and having the two sections or multiple sections for it. One is enhancing the database scheme with a schema migration. NPM run database migration should work because that's the way we push it to both dev and production. And then the front end needs to push the heartbeats into it. And only then can we, at the worker level, read it from Supabase. Okay. Worker internal cycle update, base worker weight checker, design, sector banking, shift flag, regional telemetry, create telemetry table and super basic log style metrics, implement basic admin stats, view and dashboard. Just to clarify again, telemetry is for post hog and admin stats viewing dashboards. No, it's post hog dashboards. Don't put any, don't make any screens for telemetry. No admin screens. Okay. Dev notes, the file, just memory, immediate processing. If you think we need instances with more memory, we can do that. Especially if you just want to jump from 512 to 1 gig, that's easy because it's just a $2 a month difference. If we need larger ones, do advise on instances and costs. Do a Google search for the prices today, and we can talk about having a larger one if needed. But I do prefer to start testing what we have and then see if we actually need it instead of just theorizing about it and making a decision based on. I mean, if you have data to back up the requirement, then I'm fine with proceeding to pick a different size instance or a different type instance to have more memory for the instance. Full start management, pulling 300 my registry over 1 GB public link is fast. 2.5 seconds. The bottleneck is droplet provisioning. It's like 1.5 minutes. Pre-baked snapshots are non-negotiable for the seconds time. Product structure nodes, workers handle cloud logic versus API. Sure. Remains the source of truth for persistent network performance. Okay. Why does it say Gemini 2 Flash XP? I think the Gemini 3 Flash a lot of times refers to itself as Gemini 2. Anyway, is there a reason why you Gemini 3 Flash are reporting Gemini 2 a lot of times? Is that a mistake or do you just identify as Gemini 2? Because you're supposed to be Gemini 3. Just curious. That's not important for the story. I'm gonna let this run and be back in a minute. Just going to the kitchen and back. I don't know, maybe get a hit of sugar and be back.